we just jumped on an old sheep herder trail and that kind of headed towards the direction of down. Great eye to spot that fawn. They're so well hidden, and until you see it and know it's there.
Yeah.
You just can easily. Kevin cruised by it.
Kevin and Cody went by it before I found it. Yep.
2 feet off that trail.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep.
So, they're real well hidden. They're trained by mom to lay completely still in a little ball and not move. They don't have a scent, so they just hunker down in the hiding spot, and they don't move when they hear things and see things, which clearly that fawn could. She watched us walk by initially before you spotted it, so she still didn't move.
Okay, Chris, it's been a while since we've done our last podcast. It's been pretty busy. Fundraising season's kind of over. Now it's jumping into some of our summer activities, so just been a while since we've gotten together and done this podcast.
Yeah, it's been a day or two.
Yeah, I've been tackling a lot of things, and we've been trying to come up with some good subjects to talk about on the podcast and get going once again with this. And after the last couple of days, we thought, what the heck? Let's get together today and talk about what we did on Tuesday and what I did on yesterday as well. And that is fawn captures. A little sore.
I'm feeling great today. I'm back to normal. So I didn't go yesterday.
Just to get a little bit of background, so we work with the Monteith Shop on his research, and it captures adult mule deer, doe mule deer, and buck mule deer in the fall and in the spring, usually around December and in March. And during March, they check the pregnancies of the does, and then they insert a vaginal implant transmitter. So when it comes time in the spring and those fawns are born, this VIT releases from the doe and then notifies the team that these fawns have been born. And then the next job is to go hike up into these high mountains and capture these fawns to get some more data and collar some fawns.
Theoretically, the VIT means that a birth has taken place. I think they're pretty reliable, but there's always little things, as we found out. And I'm sure it happens. I know from Kevin saying it happens. One thing or another, it could be the VIT malfunctioned. It could come out prematurely from the doe, but I think pretty high success rate of them working just like they're supposed to work.
Yeah, and this was the case yesterday with the one that I went on, the VIT. They couldn't get any signal from it in that, but they knew just by the clusters of the mom that it looked apparent she did give birth to the fawns. So that's how we were determining that these fawns were born yesterday. Now on Tuesday, the VIT we know was just prematurely released, as we found out as you found it that day.
I guess to maybe add a little bit of detail. So those does are all collared with a satellite transmitter that sends a location spot, if you will, back to the Monteith Shop researchers, every 2 hours, 4 hours? 4 hours, I believe.
Yeah, every 4 hours.
So those folks are so versed in knowing and reading that data that they know also when does cluster. So in other words, they get a lot of data points in a small little area around those times, because I guess even going back all the way to when they do the sonograms on those does in the early March time frame, they measure the eye pupil or the eye dimensions. So from using the sonogram, so they can dang near pinpoint pretty close as to when that doe should have their fawns.
Yes.
Or fawn. So,
yep. And I bet they were a little off this year.
Yeah. Sounds they had a lot of, so what did they say overall? Probably a week early?
Yes. So I think Kevin sent me the first fawn. Yeah, it was just before that last week of May.
Yeah, so that's pretty early.
Yeah, and that's why we kind of had a schedule Tuesday to start participating in these because that's usually when it starts with the whole process, the fawn's birth, and it peaks right about next week or towards the end of June. And you talked to his tech on Tuesday morning, and they already had 70 plus fawns already captured.
Yeah.
So that was amazing.
Yeah.
We did have a very mild winter this year, and they're kind of assuming that could be the reasoning behind it all. But once again, we're collecting new data and discovering some different things as we do. Seems like almost every year there's something new. And that's the importance of this research, and that's why we're very supportive of it. Because with Kevin's work, it's just remarkable the things that they do discover year after year, and that's the importance of it. And so who knows what we may come out with having such a mild winter, but they may discover not only with the early births, but even the health of these fawns. One thing was, how many sets of triplets did they say they have this year?
Kevin said that typically in their sample size of does that are collared, or maybe he meant historically across a herd, which I think they extrapolate that data based on the numbers they have collared. About 4% of all does would be pregnant with triplets. And I'm pretty sure he said that there were 3 different does from this group of does that they currently have collared in the Wyoming Range. Yeah, it's pretty rare that you have a mom carrying triplets.
Yep. And the one doe that we were going after on Tuesday was actually one of those. I guess we could just start. This was a pretty cool time as we were joined with 2 individuals that work with the All-In company. If you're not familiar with All-In, it's a business that has a product that's a snapshot system where you have this added to your cell phone, and then that actually magnifies to your optics, whether it be a spotting scope or binoculars. So you can take video or photo through those optics. And there's a lot of the similar type of products out there, but this company is just kind of expanded a little bit more with this type of product. And I think they're pretty much probably the top of the line with this type of product. And Cody K and his media guide Payson came along with us, and it was pretty cool. They were trying to do some live content right away with this, just tell a whole story and bring folks along with us. They had a Starlink satellite system for our Wi-Fi that came along. It was pretty cool. And then it was just instant. He'd do a video and just instantly post it on social media so people could kind of follow along with our adventure as well. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just crazy technology. Just battery powered Starlink. You just turn it on, boom.
Yeah.
Side of a mountain, we've got complete cell signal. And yeah, they did those live little videos and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool. Usually these captures just start off, we meet at their little base camp where Monteith and his techs are, and they, like we talked about, the VIT, once it transmits showing that there could have been a birth, we immediately go after that doe, that location where that doe is. And it could be a quick hike to that, or it could take all day. And unfortunately, on Tuesday, it was an all-day thing. And in June, we expect different types of weather. It could be 90 degrees, sunny as can be, or it could be winter again. And on this case, it was getting pretty close to another wintry day.
Yeah, it was a little damp and cool.
And we were joined not only with the All-In company crew, but your son Easton was with us. And so there was 6 of us, and we always got to expect the worst. And when I say the worst, long hikes and increase in elevation to the extreme, and that's what this one all included. We drove 27 miles on a dirt road that winded up and down through some wonderful high country landscape, and then to come to an end, parked the vehicles, and then did a 4-mile hike to a certain point that was straight below where these fawns could have been born. Then it was a 800-yard, 1,500-foot climb probably to that location.
Yeah, I would say every bit of 1,000 feet elevation gain in about less than 850 yards. Because when we were on the main trail, Kevin said the birth location or the suspected birth location where the VIT was about 850 yards above us. But some of that was after we already were on top of that bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little steep. Combined with the fact that it hailed right before we took off the main trail and everything was slimy, wet, muddy, slippery.
Mm-hmm.
It made for a fun little jaunt up the side of that mountain for sure. But
yeah, and that was the only the beginning of the whole thing. But it's always a relief once you reach that point, kind of take a break, and then Kevin gets out his, as Cody would say, his wand thing, but his device for telemetry, so they can locate how close the doe is to us and her almost practically exact location at that time, so we can find mom just in case, because the fawns could be with her at that time, or we just know that's the vicinity of where the fawns could be. But the first task also is with that telemetry is to find where that VIT is located. Yeah. And he got real close and couldn't quite get the exact thing, and then you just happened to walk up upon it and find it.
Yeah, I almost stepped on it in the brush.
Yeah. But unfortunately, as I said, it was a premature release, because you could always tell a birth site compared to a non-birth site, because they usually scrape away the soil and just kind of like their bedding area, similar to a bedding area. So we just knew, and so that was important for us to find the mom so we could kind of take a look at her and see if she's still pretty large and pregnant. And we did find that, and it looked like she had given birth. So we did start searching for fawns. We couldn't locate any fawns. And then it was time to say, okay, maybe we can get some more data points of where she just recently was, which I'll let you talk about that time period, because it took forever.
Yeah, we took off from the trucks on the main trail at a little after 11 in the morning. I don't know what time you got up, but it was about quarter to 4 a.m. when I got up.
Same.
We were scheduled to meet with the Monteith crew, Kevin and those guys, if we could be there in Big Piney a little before 7 a.m. So we had to get a early go here from our houses. And so, I didn't check my watch when we actually got to the top, but I have to think it was about 2:30-ish. Yeah, when we kind of got to the site where the VIT was. And to back up a little bit, I think Kevin had some uncertainty based on the fact that we didn't have all the data points. We weren't getting those real consistent. And also he hadn't gotten a lot of clustered data points, kind of indicate that doe was in one little spot for a period of time to kind of indicate conclusively that was a really good chance that she had given birth, besides that VIT being expelled. So there was a little bit of uncertainty. So Joey said after we found the VIT, it was clearly not a birth site. And then Kevin had a real good idea based on her signal where she was on the side of this hill in the timber. So we kind of snuck in there, trying not to blow her out before we could get eyes on her, which was pretty tough because it was some thick timber.
Yes.
And we did see her for not for long in the trees. And I don't know, we had mixed things. We didn't get a good look at her going away or coming at us that would kind of indicate she still had a big belly, but just there was just a lot of uncertainty. Had she had the fawns? Did she not have the fawns? And so at this point, we did a little grid search in that area. You had found another possible bedding site or maybe birth location.
Yeah.
That was, again, like the first one we found in the timber that Kevin found, was a little inconclusive as to whether or not she had given birth. But the simple fact of the time frame. That VIT came out in the middle of the night. Her data points from, I think, 9 in the morning, and then maybe
10, and then I think 1.
10 and 1 weren't clustered. So there
Right.
was there's some possibility that she just didn't have enough time to give birth to 3. And had she, we should be finding him right where she jumped up or in very close proximity.
Yep.
So we found the first bed that Kevin found, and then the one you found were maybe 50 yards apart.
Yep.
In some pretty thick cover. So at this point, it's raining. It's cold. It's a little windy, but we're a long ways from the truck, and we're already invested in being there. Kevin thought the best thing to do would be to just kind of hunker down under some trees and wait for 5 o'clock to hopefully get some new data points that were updated, in hopes that we find some clustered points at that point that then we can go search to see if we can for sure find the fawns.
Yeah.
So,
and this decision was made at 4:10?
No, I specifically remember looking at my watch at that point. When that decision was made, it was about 4:45. So we're committed to at least an hour and 10 minutes of standing under these trees in the rain, in the cold. And now we don't, like Kevin said, the data points don't necessarily come at spot on 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
It could be sometime after that those download and he's able to check his data and see where exactly she may or may not have been. We made the best of it.
Yeah.
It was fun sitting around and chatting. And
of course, if Cody didn't bring that Starlink thing, we wouldn't have even had that decision at all, because without any signal, he wouldn't have been able to download those data points.
yeah,
So it's Cody's fault for sitting there for that long of a period of time.
we'll blame it on Cody for bringing the Starlink. Yeah.
No, that was great. And that's a great device for them to have, because that's very helpful for these circumstances.
Yeah, we sat there until about 5:20-ish.
Yep.
And that's when Kevin said, I'll give it 5 more minutes. And I literally set my stopwatch to 5 minutes to hold him to that time frame.
Yep.
I was ready to move. I didn't care what we were doing, looking for fawns, hiking out. I just needed to move around and warm up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that time came around and still no data points. So
Yeah.
Kevin just made the decision, let's just start moving back to the vehicles. And we just figured we'd slowly walk back to the areas that we've already looked, just in case. And at this time, finally, a little bit of sunlight has come out. The winds calmed down a little bit, and weather was looking better. But we just kind of normally walked out where we were going to go into this opening. And it looked like we were just getting ready to head straight back down. And just as we hit this little clearing in that, I just happened to look to my left into the sagebrush, and there was a fawn.
Yeah.
And I don't know, everybody's mood was either Yahoo or, oh no, now we got to stay a little bit longer.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was great to find the fawn. It's just that uncertainty of knowing whether or not that fawn belonged to that deer.
Yeah.
Because when she spooked, she went up the hill, didn't go down to that location. Not that we would expect her to necessarily, but yeah, like you said, we just jumped on an old sheep herder trail and that kind of headed towards the direction of down. Great eye to spot that fawn. They're so well hidden, and there's until you see it and know it's there.
Yeah.
You just can easily. Kevin cruised by it.
Kevin
Cody.
and Cody went by it before I found it. Yep.
2 feet off that trail.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep.
So yeah, they're real well hidden. They're trained by mom to lay completely still in a little ball and not move. They don't have a scent, so they just hunker down in the hiding spot, and they don't move when they hear things and see things, which clearly that fawn could she watched us walk by initially before you spotted it. So she still didn't move.
Yeah. And with the uncertainty, the only way we can know for certain that it belonged to that doe was to find the other two.
Yeah.
We knew she had triplets.
Yeah.
So we had to find the other two to confirm that this belonged to this doe that we were after. So,
we should name her. Old deer 338.
Yeah, 338.
Which they have had collared for, I don't know how many years Kevin said, but it's been at least 2.
Yep.
Because she historically, as all doe mule deer, when they give birth, they historically go back to the exact same spot within very close proximity to give birth every year.
Yep.
Although Kevin said she typically gave birth close to the top of that ridge and not that bench that we were on about, I don't know what. So there was a little bit more uncertainty. Kevin said she typically gives birth almost at the top.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the case. So added a little bit more mystery to the whole situation.
Yeah. And then do we collar this fawn, do all the testing that we do, and just hope that it is her fawn? And decision went back and forth, and finally Kevin just said, okay, let's collar it and let's just hope it does. And then knowing the next day they will know for certain that it is, just because mama's points will probably come back to that fawn and they'll know the location of that fawn from its collar and put 2 and 2 together, and then we would know for sure.
Yeah.
And we went nonstop, did some gridding throughout for, I don't know, probably another hour or so before we started doing the research on it. Try and find the other 2 fawns, and no luck on that. But we got that done, and finally, about 7-ish is when we finally finished up to start heading back to the vehicles. So you're collecting all the data, yeah.
As Kevin was telling me, so when they find those fawns, they do a number of measurements, hoof length and rear leg length, weight. They draw a little blood from the deer to test for some various things, both disease and genetics, and then fit the fawn with a radio collar.
Yep.
So they're handled very minimally, and Kevin and his crew know exactly how to handle those fawns and in an appropriate way to minimize anything and everything.
Yep. And for how many captures that fawn that Kevin has done, it was very quick. I'm sure maybe 15 minutes total.
Yeah, about 15
minutes.
Finish
it all up.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you just ensure you place the fawn in the same location as found, because mama definitely knows the exact location of her fawns. And once she returns after everything we done, she will lick the fawn clean, and there's no detection or whatever, smell or anything. So just back to normal thing for that fawn.
Yeah.
So it was another great journey back to the vehicles. And just before dark, we reached the vehicles and was able to eat some more lunch, I guess, or dinner or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then able to just kind of chill for a little bit and relax before we had to go back on that 27-mile dirt road again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got back to my house at 1 a.m.
Yep. Me too.
Yeah. So, but it's a great experience. You get to witness some great country, get some great exercise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely do it every day if my body would allow it, for sure.
Yeah. Obviously those researchers are, a vast majority are younger individuals, grad students that work for the Monteith Shop. So they are certainly younger and better shape and do that for however long it takes them, 3 weeks. And I don't know if I could do it for 3 weeks every day. Like you said, you don't know exactly where you're going. They kind of do based on if it's a doe that's been collared for a number of years. And it's funny because we had some indication that this was going to be a jaunt. The biggest part of it probably was it was a bit of a driving trek just to get from Big Piney to where we had to take off.
Yeah.
And then a bit of a jaunt, a bit of a hike to get into where we were at. And there always are a few little details that are left out. I think they don't want to necessarily. We're a group of guys, so we were all gung ho, but yeah, it was a trek to get in there.
Yeah, I would say from their base camp to the birthing site, we probably traveled a total of maybe 140 to 50 miles total.
Probably pretty close.
Yeah, between driving and hiking. Yeah, it's a long ways, but you have to do it. That's where the does go to give birth to their fawns, and it's not like you can just say, "Oh, we'll just let that one be," because But no, they're committed. They want that data, and they do everything possible they have to, and deal with whatever they deal with just to get that research complete.
And do we mention that night or that sometime during that night when we got home, they got those additional data points, indicated that 338, that was one of her fawns, but somebody's got to go back in there and try to locate the other two.
Yep.
And see if they can find them or some sort of indication what maybe happened to the other two, and hopefully find them in good shape and collar them.
Kristen returned back yesterday. I did. I was undecisive during that night if I was going to come back the next day. I just figured I would see how I'm doing in the morning. The next morning, I was a little sore, a little tired, because once again, I had to get back up early in the morning so I can get back up there and meet Kevin. Thankfully, he said, we'll do a little bit later depart time, so if you could just be up there at 9 a.m., which meant I had to leave about 7 o'clock. So not a 4 o'clock wake up, 6 o'clock wake up. I started feeling a little better as I started gathering all my things, loading things up, and then traveling to there. I was very motivated to get on the next capture, so it wasn't too bad. And I was informed that this one wasn't too bad of a hike, but I can never trust that. Never. Not with Kevin. But it was a pretty good trip. It wasn't as extreme as Tuesday. This was a doe that had twins, so we were going to look for two. The travel time from base camp to the parking lot wasn't too far, and then from the parking lot to the birth site was, I think it was 2.8 miles in, and the up and down wasn't too bad. The worst of it all was really the deadfall that we had to go through, because Kevin had not been on this doe last year, because this is another doe. I think this was the second year with this doe. So the hike in wasn't really no familiarization as far as what Kevin had. So, as you call it, we were going in blind. And again, we got to one point right below the birth site, took a lunch break, got our energy going, and we went up. It was only really about 200, 300 feet increase in elevation is all, and wasn't bad at all. This just all worked out as we always wish it will. We went to the VIT, found the VIT right away, and definitely a birth site. It was just the perfect vision of what a birth site's supposed to be. And as soon as we found that, we did find mom, located her. She was just off, probably 150 yards from the birth site. Let her be. We went back, started making the plan to do the grid search for the two fawns. Did so much, and Kevin came around one end. He found the first fawn, and then a little bit after that, I came around and I found the second fawn, which pacing with Olin, he actually passed it twice. The crazy thing is both of these fawns were pretty much in the wide open. It was rocky, very little, just short grass, and just bits and pieces of sagebrush throughout that. And they're wide open, and it was still just unbelievable how they just camouflage into that
Yep.
kind of area. It's just, it's incredible. But yeah, got both of them, all the data we needed off of them quick within 30 minutes, about 15 minutes for each fawn. Headed back down the hill and got to the truck, and it was 5 o'clock. Yeah, almost 5 o'clock. And once again, Kevin says, "Hey, we can go after another." And I was like, "Oh."
He just wanted you guys to have the full experience.
Yeah, he did. And so once again, it was at 5 o'clock, we'll wait for the data points to come through for this other one. And I was like, "Yeah, I know how that rolls." And by 5:30, he still didn't get any. So he said, let's get back to base camp, because Cody and Payson they had to load up their camp and head back to Idaho, where the All-In company resides, and the owner, and he had to just drop a bunch of stuff off to there and then get back to Utah where Cody and them live. But yeah, I think it was just awesome, just the way Cody just brought the story of both of these captures to the public, just one bit after another, and all the way up to the point where the captures occurred. I just thought he did pretty awesome with all that and shared it with the public. So we appreciate those guys coming along and doing that, because it's important not only to see how Kevin and his team work and the situations that they go through and just face, and doing that every single day, and sometimes 2 captures in one day. I know of 3 captures in one day. It's pretty incredible what those folks do, and just to get the information that we need.
Yeah, it's really incredible. A lot of work goes into that. And like you said, it's like with deer 338. They knew the vit came out. They weren't 100% sure that meant she gave birth, but you've got to go check.
Yep.
And that happens pretty frequently. It's like you don't know, you're not there until you're there. So then you got to kind of solve that mystery if it's not like what you guys had yesterday, which is a picture perfect example of what they hope that you find is the vit, the birth site, and 2 fawns or whatever, just pretty close to right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I envy those guys. I just, like I said, the things that they discover year after year, and it's all worth it. And I don't know, if it was me, I'd probably, after just a few days, be done and tired and tell them, you guys take care of the rest of this.
Yeah.
But like you said, they're young, they're still in great shape, and they continue to be in great shape just because of that reason. You and I are in our 50s, and I'm not saying we're out of shape, but the body gets old, so
yeah,
a little rough on us. But yeah, I would every year want to just try and make that time to be part of that stuff.
Yeah,
it's a great time. And
yeah, if anybody wants to go to the All-In Company, OLLIN, and check out those reels that Cody did and Jason did on that. Even us, we're there, but every time he would fire up that Starlink and we all had cell signals on our phone, I know I was like, oh, look, there's a new thing from All-In. So I'm watching the video of what we just did.
Yeah.
However much earlier that was. And I got a kick out of it because that doesn't happen. It doesn't live, almost play-by-play of a capture and all that goes into it. And I can definitely tell you that when I looked at some of that footage, I'm thinking, well, that doesn't look that steep when you're looking at it on the deal. But Cody should have gotten some visuals of the hill coming up or going down, because it was steep. Yeah. But I understand not doing that, because we either just wanted to get to the top or get to the bottom and get off the mountain. But all in all, it was a great day. And I can't say enough about Cody and Payson. I don't know if they knew what they were in store for, but I think they had a blast. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they stayed positive throughout the entire time. And he got a lot of great comments. So many people were messaging him saying, oh, this is so great. Oh, we couldn't wait till the end. And then finally here he showed the final piece, and it was just so great to follow along. And that's what else just so cool is a lot of these people just can't be part of that, and this got it to them.
It was very cool.
Yeah, so we're hoping that can continue. Hopefully next year he can do the same thing again. And yeah, there's going to be some more content. I'm sure they're going to be putting together, because Payson had another camera that was documenting a lot of the other things behind what Cody was doing. And I think they're going to put together another whole piece to tell the story of it. So really excited about that. Yeah, Allen's a great company, and I know they're going to do some more stuff and support Kevin's work and help out with so he can continue that work. So that's really cool of them.
Yep. Yeah, and this is, like Kevin said, this is after the winter of 22-23, when Western Wyoming, pretty much the whole state, but specifically Western Wyoming, got hit with, I don't know, worst snow event that we've had in 100 years, and we lost a large portion, or did we lose all? No, we lost all the collared fawns, and we lost a large majority of the collared deer.
Yep.
And that's one thing I should ask Kevin is, which collared deer from prior to 2022-23 winter are still online?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I never even thought to ask him. We just assumed that we're starting all over now.
Yeah. So a vast majority of these deer, they've only got 2 years of history, birth history on them.
Yeah. And when they've had 3 generations of deer, mom, the baby, and the grandbaby.
Yep.
That's extraordinary for them to collect that kind of data. And like Kevin said, this project is probably one of the biggest research projects in the country, maybe even in the world, really.
Yeah.
Just of what all they collect and what they do.
Yeah.
So it's incredible. And this is just something you need to support and continue on. As we say, it just seems like it has some new discoveries every year.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Muley Fanac Foundation is a part of it, supports it, and continues to raise dollars for it. It's just awesome research, and I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just every year they find new things, and maybe they're things that the average person may look at and say, what does that mean for mule deer? What's that mean for conservation? We do a lot of habitat work, which is crucial, but knowing, and a portion of this research is telling us what those deer need, what and where they go, what's crucial to them for birthing locations, and the type of habitat that they're living in when they're giving birth, their proximity to everything else, other critters, that type of thing. It is a whole big puzzle that these guys put together every year when they crunch all the numbers and the data. And like this year, when the fawn captures first started, some of the data we got was, hey, the fawns are looking big or bigger than the average, but then quickly they discovered through the other 60 some fawns that they quickly started catching that birth rates and size of the fawns are down this year. So combine that with giving birth probably in a week to maybe 10 days earlier than normal. What does all that mean?
Yeah.
I guess we'll start to find out that as time goes by, but
Yep. And it's pretty crazy. The inception of this project started in 2013. And within that 13 years, they've had 2 severe winters, 1 record breaking, and now probably a record breaking mild winter.
Yeah.
So
2 years in a row of hardly any snow.
So just how fortunate they are to have all this within this time period. It's like perfect timing to do this type of research.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just, it's going to be very interesting how these fawns are. Are they going to be extremely healthy going into next winter? Hopefully we don't have 2 of a severe winter, hopefully a normal average winter. But if it is a severe winter, but all these fawns are just so healthy just because they were born early. They've had a long period of time before the winter hits to get healthy, which helped them make it through a severe winter.
Mother Nature seems to know. You combine that with all the things they already know, like the birth date of fawns can correlate with how far they have to migrate to get to where they're going to give birth, where they historically give birth. So it's that doe is not going to give birth in a random spot on their migration route. They know that in the research.
Yep.
That doe is going to last it out until she gets to where she always has birth or gives birth. So, yeah, so many crazy things that they've determined and found out based on all that research.
Yep. I did learn one thing yesterday. Kevin mentioned to Cody, because Cody asked, and he said, now we have 2 fawns, and actually each one of these fawns could have a different dad. And I was like, I thought one buck
would inseminate the
one doe, and those 2 fawns have that buck's genetics now. But he said this fawn will have genetics from one buck, and this fawn can have genetics from another buck.
Huh. I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
And that's some of the reason they do the blood draw too, is to test those genetics. Yep. So obviously if they test it and it comes back identical, they know it was one singular buck that bred that doe, and I guess, or the opposite.
Yeah. That was new for me. So that's why I just, every opportunity I can, go on these captures, because you just learn so much stuff. And Kevin is just that guy that can teach you some good stuff, and you learn so much from just his knowledge.
Yeah,
it's incredible stuff. So if you're ever interested in being part of these captures, now there is a limitation of how many people can go on them and stuff, because we don't want to overdo it, but anyone's welcome to participate in these and experience what we do. Just could reach out to the foundation and let us know that you're interested, and we can get you in connection with Kevin and get all that scheduled up.
Remember what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
You never know the morning of what is suddenly going to be the priority deer to go after. It could be 338.
Yeah.
And I won't say the location, but it's a ways.
Yeah.
And if that's what it is, and that's where you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great stuff.
Yeah, huge thanks again to the guys at Olin and the company as a whole for doing what they did. I mean, I had no idea that's what they were going to do. I knew we were with Cody and Payson was along. So it was great to spend the day with those guys. You got to spend 2 days with them. I was kind of bummed after the fact yesterday, despite the fact that when I rolled out of bed, I thought I might not even make it downstairs to get a cup of coffee. But after a little bit, I was thinking, oh man, I should have just got up and gone, because it's just cool. You just only get so many of those days every year. And I should have sucked it up and went.
There's still opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll continue on unless they capture every fawn possible by next week or so. But
it's just always tough sometimes fitting it in our schedule of all the other stuff we have going on and work commitments. So although that is, we set time aside and make that a priority to get up there and do those as much as we can. But when they come, it's like a floodgate.
Yeah.
So you just got to be prepared to get up there and get after it.
Yeah. I'm hoping I get one more day next week. We'll see how things go, but the last 2 days, I'm feeling it today, and I knew I would, but no, it's all worth it for sure. So again, thank you, Olin, for all that you guys did, Cody and Payson. Appreciate you guys coming, and hopefully you guys all go check out their social media and see the story of those 2 days. It's great. So get on there and check it out. Hopefully we'll get another podcast out here in next week or so, and we have a little bit of downtime since our fundraising season's over, and we're going to be doing some more projects and stuff, so we could talk about those things until we get back into some of our fundraising again later in the year.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and until next time, we'll see what comes up.